Hello and welcome to another Project Falcon Punch video on 2018. Even though we're in 2019 now, we're still looking back on the previous year, this time on our most disappointing games of that year. I'm your host Dan, and with me today I'm going to be having a whole host of people, just like we did before with 2017, and also with our most anticipated games of 2019 list. In this video we're going to be having Jack from Jakstalgia, Liam Robertson, also from Project Falcon Punch you have myself and Alex, and also my friends Steve, Ben and Andy, who you may have seen in the previous video we did on the anticipated games list. Not much more to say other than just keep in mind that this is completely subjective. It's all just opinions at the end of the day, so don't get mad if there's a game in this list that you actually like. It's just our own personal preference or whether we like the game after hyping it up ourselves. And one final note just to say that we have 3 more videos coming for the top 5s of 2018. You believe it or not, there is still some more. So I hope you look forward to that in the coming weeks. Without further ado, we'll just go straight into Jack's most disappointing game of 2018. Take it away, Jack.
My most disappointing game of this year, I went back and forth between 3 games. And I want to preface this by saying I love this game, but it's still disappointing, and that's Mario Tennis Aces. It's got an amazing core game. There's so many mechanics, and it's got so much depth for a tennis game, and I love it. But my God, does it not have any content. Like, it is so lacking in terms of content, and it's not even a good party game because it has so much depth in terms of the mechanics that you can't just, like, give a controller to somebody and be like, play this game with me, because they actually have to, like, learn the mechanics to, like, properly, like, enjoy this game, I feel.
Yeah, you'd wipe the floor with them, I'm guessing.
Exactly. So it's just a weird game that I love, but since it lacks content, I just feel like I'm left disappointed. I don't know. I really hope they add more in the future through DLC, but I doubt it at this point.
Yeah, they're just adding characters, aren't they, really? More than natural, like, modes and stuff.
Exactly, and it's the same problem ARMS had, really. I loved ARMS dearly. One of the best Switch games, but all they added was characters, and that wasn't enough. There wasn't enough in the core game, so similarly to ARMS, like Mario Tennis just kind of faded into obscurity, and it's a shame because this is, mechanically, in my opinion, this is the best Mario Tennis game we've gotten, and I adore it, but I also despise it.
Yeah, because there is like a single player mode as well, right? Like, which the Wii U version didn't have.
Yeah, but it's like half-baked and like, I don't know, it's just like it's a fun extra, but it's especially not enough to warrant a $60 price tag. But yeah, it's just a shame because this is kind of like this has been a trend with Nintendo lately. Like ARMS was like very lacking on content. The other game that I was like debating on if to be my most disappointing game of this year was Super Mario Party, because that also had the same problem of an amazing core game. Like, it was a return to form, but it was lacking in terms of content, and it's such a shame because I just can't play them for more than like a couple minutes at a time before putting them down because there just isn't that much there to keep me invested.
My most disappointing game of 2018 has to be Mario Tennis Aces.
Oh, okay. Surprised me, actually. I didn't realise that you found this as disappointing as you have.
Now, when I say it was disappointing, I didn't find it bad. I enjoyed Mario Tennis Aces. I think it's a pretty good game. But when you consider that Mario Tennis Ultra Smash was such a lackluster release by Camelot because of its lack of modes, and after how stylized it looked in the Nintendo Direct early this year, I expected it to be just as good as, say, Mario Power Tennis on the GameCube, because that had personality and that had like mini games to play, that had like tons of, you know, extras and modes to do. Whereas in Mario Tennis Aces, there's the adventure mode, which was part of why I was excited about it. This is the first console Mario Tennis game to have an RPG mode, or, you know, like an adventure mode. That was only like 5 hours or something, and it was just like the most cookie cutter Mario story you can think of. It's like, you want to get past the ocean? Let's play a game of tennis. You want to get past the train station? Oh, we got to play tennis. That sort of thing. I know it's a Mario sports game, so you don't have to think too hard about it, but the sports games RPGs had like unique characters. They had like, you know, human characters to them that weren't Mario characters, and I was hoping to see something like that. And even Mario Golf World Tour on the 3DS, you could explore the building with your Mii, and I thought that was so cool. So I thought, what could they do with Aces? But it was just over and done with really quick, and there's a level up system, but thing is, you're so done with the adventure that there's no point to it because there's not much to use it on. On top of that, how good the minigame mini-games were in Mario Power Tennis, well, there's like barely any mini-games in there. There's only like 1 or 2 in the story and some boss battles, but, you know, and after that, you were just kind of done with the game, and I thought, oh, well, I was expecting a bit more than that. And the new character updates have helped alleviate a little bit with the issues I had with it in terms of it being a bit on the short side, but, you know, at the same time, I just kind of expected, like, say, some, you know, uniquely good side modes or some, a bit more meat to the adventure. The bosses were fun, but I was hoping for a bit more of the game to be like that, you know? But yeah, oh well.
Aim, set, and match receiver.
Steve, what's your most anticipated game of this year? Boom, go.
Disappointing?
Yeah.
Fallout 76.
Oh, well, I can talk about that as well, because that is also my most disappointing
There we
game.
go.
We'll just talk about it all together.
Fallout 76 should have been better.
Should have been better.
Should
Could have
have
been better.
NPCs.
Should have had NPCs like we touched on.
It should have been smoother at launch, but
Yeah.
they have made it much, much better. Quite barren.
Map is barren. It feels like they've copied a lot of Fallout 4, like textures and skins. and
It's
just
this
copy and
was the
paste.
end.
There's
Engine
no
of Fallout 4.
improvement of
Yeah.
graphics at all.
No.
It doesn't feel like to me.
But
anyway.
it is good graphics considering
Wait.
it's online.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, surely it should be less. Graphics shouldn't be as good if
Yeah.
they were online because the first one wasn't.
It just seems hollow.
Yeah,
it's
it
just
does.
empty. Seems empty.
And like you said, you go to a one robot and you get a
Quest.
task or mission, quest, and then you bugger off and you go and kill maybe half a dozen enemies, maybe a dozen if there's 2 of you, and then you pick up something and you bring it back, or you just drop something off to that person, or you kill that person. It's
There's
just
no like story. I don't have a clue what the story is, and we've done about 30 hours at least.
There's apparently, from what I understand,
maybe
there's like a
20.
bunch of audio files and stuff.
Yeah, and that's how you get your
the
quests.
what are they called, tapes?
They're like, and they're like,
Holotapes.
and they're apparently just like they're the rewards for quests sometimes, which I'm guessing doesn't feel that rewarding.
The best part is building.
Build 12.
That is the best part. And the nukes are really underrated. I thought the radius would be
We have
much
seen
bigger.
those go off,
Yeah.
and they are quite.
They're small.
They're not massive.
They're
They're,
really
I'd
small.
probably say.
10th of the map.
Oh, less than that, I'd say. 1/15th. You'd be very unlucky to get hit with that,
Yeah.
that nuke.
To put it into context, anyone listening for you two, Steve, I know you played a lot of Fallout 4, never finished it. Ben, I know you fucking love Fallout 4. You love Skyrim.
Well, I played Fallout 3,
Oh, did you not?
Vegas
Okay.
4.
And so Ben, I know you were hugely anticipating this game.
Yeah.
Steve, less so.
Got the collector's edition.
Yeah.
What a waste.
What a way.
They owe me a bag as well.
I was going to say, you're the one of those people that got the shitty bag, haven't you?
Yeah, they're issuing a new bag, aren't they?
Yeah.
But you got to sign up by January 10th.
Fucking hell, that's like
You've
2
done
days.
No, you need an invoice. I can't find one.
You can't be asked, can you?
Nah.
On a shitty bag, okay. So, my most disappointing game of 2018 is Battlefield 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know
That's
if you
interesting.
remember, when we did my 2016 list, I had Battlefield 1 on that list. I think it was like 3rd or 4th of that year. I really love Battlefield 1. I'm a big fan of Battlefield games. I have been like since Bad Company 1 on the PS3. I know Battlefield's been more of a PC-orientated game series,
Yeah.
but I've always enjoyed the Battlefield games.
Yeah.
But Battlefield 5 tried to do Battlefield 1, but in World War II instead. It just messed with the multiplayer too much, with the way that the squads work. Before, you would have a mechanic, you'd have an assault, you'd have a sniper, you'd have a healer, like a medic. Because I always used to like playing as the medic, go around and like reviving people. Anyone can put out a bit of armor, a bit of health, and also revive people. So it just makes each class feel less individual. The maps just don't feel great anyway. There's something that I don't know if you remember. What I liked about Battlefield 1 so much was actually the single player, which Battlefield has historically been terrible at.
Yeah.
And it was all about, had these like 5 vignette stories. Each one had its own unique story, its own unique characters and location, and some of them were really, really cool. This one, on launch, had 3 instead of 5. One of them was a free DLC download in like December. Later on, they've got the Battle Royale coming out in February or something. It's like basically this entire game just feels rushed, and it's proper EA push it out the door in November before Christmas, to the extent of like some of the single player is like free DLC in December because they know they couldn't get it on the disc beforehand. And just the single player as a whole is less linear, but a lot of the environments where you can like literally fly over in a plane, which you couldn't necessarily do in Battlefield 1, that's kind of cool. But the environments are this huge area where you can go to these different locations and like sneak in and take some guards out. But then you go over to like this big warehouse that's just right next to the runway where your plane is, and you walk towards this warehouse that looks like any other unassuming warehouse you can go into, and this big sign comes up saying return to the battlefield, and it counts down from 5 seconds, otherwise you die. And it's like, the fuck, you got this big open area, but you just gated off this one little area for no reason. Like,
Yeah.
it makes you feel like the game's put you in this big sandbox, but you've still got some like adult like watching your every move. Like, no, don't go that way. Go this way. Everything about the game just, like I say, feels rushed and just doesn't feel great to even play with.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it's not an awful game, but just in terms of someone like myself who enjoyed Battlefield 1 so much, Battlefield 5 was just a letdown, honestly.
Yeah, well, that's what this category is all about. It's about personal feelings and angst and disappointment.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be the worst. But yeah, I'm surprised that you picked that one because I didn't hear you even mention this game until now. I think this is the first time I've heard you talk about Battlefield 5.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, well, I guess so. I always thought that the premise of it looked interesting. Weird kind of alternate take on history.
Which I'm all for, by the way, but the characters in the single player are just so not interesting and kind of obnoxious. There's these two English guys that sound like something out of a Guy Ritchie film.
Oh, God.
But bad, like, you know, I'm not talking like Snatch and Lockstock funny dialogue. It's like trying to ape that sort of style with these two characters, and it's like the way that they're just talking about like getting away from these Germans. They're like stuck behind enemy lines, and it just nothing feels good about it. Like it's not fun enough to take itself ironically, but it's not like serious enough to be interesting.
Yeah, I think as a British person, I can detect the level of authenticity in those accents better than anyone can, or any other group of people, of course, is what I meant.
Yeah.
Like, when you see Guy Ritchie do it, I'm not the biggest fan of his films. I feel like he gets it, but a lot of American films and foreign films and games made outside of the UK don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, one of the few examples I would give of it actually working is something like Fable. I felt like they got the British accents down pretty well there.
Because it was developed in England.
Yeah, of course.
These actors are probably English, but the dialogue is so blatantly not written like with that in mind, and it just clashes really bad. It's like someone watched EastEnders and was like, oh, that's how English people talk and act.
Yeah, there's a sense of a fakery about that type of thing, and I really hate that shit.
That was incredible. Thanks, yeah, you're welcome. You're a fucking disaster. Me? You're the one who's gonna got himself shot full of holes and shit.
Yeah, because of you tit.
Listen, I was sitting pretty in prison, mate.
My biggest disappointment of 2018, and I'm surprised, honestly, that you didn't pick this one yourself. Hang on a sec. Oops. Sorry, I was just checking if it definitely came out this year, because I wasn't sure. Okay, my biggest disappointment of 2018 was Sea of Thieves.
Knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
That was my biggest disappointment until Battlefield 5 came out.
Yeah, honestly, I really thought that would have been yours, because you're the big Rare guy.
Yep.
I know that you were really looking forward to this game as well. It is a testament how forgettable it was and how perfunctory an experience it was that I've just had to look up when it even came out, because I don't even remember. But Sea of Thieves, the concept of it was so promising. This really cool co-op pirate game. You go and you sail the seven seas with some friends and you do missions, and you rack up treasure and riches and get new items and so forth. And the end product was just this incredibly bare bones experience.
No pun intended.
Hey, and honestly, I think I've said this before, but it really did feel like an early access free-to-play game or something.
Which is crazy because this game's been in development for like 5 years.
Oh yeah, I remember they showed it at like every E3 for like 4 years. Something crazy like that. And I remember, in the lead up to launch, seeing it and thinking, okay, this is a cool base. What else are they going to show? Where are the missions? Where's the meat of the experience here? And I kept waiting and waiting for them to show it, and it just never came. And that was because when it came out, there's like fucking nothing to do in it. It is an insult that Microsoft sold this at full price. Honestly, it is ridiculous.
I feel like they made the Game Pass specifically for this, so it didn't look as bad.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it feels like it, because it's almost like, oh shit, we can't just sell this game for full price. We're gonna have to sort of get more people to play it somehow.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a game that always belonged on one of those services. This was supposed to be Rare, with the gloves off. No more Don Matrick interference. No more Microsoft bullshit. This was supposed to be them unencumbered in their creativity. People had said for years, if Microsoft just let them do what they want, they'll create something great. Well, they didn't. They made this piece of garbage, and it was a waste of everyone's time.
They focused too much on like how the water physics worked than they did on the actual gameplay.
I would like to say if they just put some missions in there, if they just put more to doing it, it would be good, but it wouldn't be, you know? Even the combat, the mechanics themselves are clunky and bad. The sword play, the gun fights, you know, none of it works very well at all.
Same 3 quests again and again and again. Fetch quests. There's no, like, story or anything.
Yeah. So, you know, when the core mechanics aren't good, the gameplay isn't good, you don't have the missions down either, there's nothing really to salvage from Sea of Thieves. They can keep throwing DLC at it, but I just don't think it's going to fix anything.
I do agree, but I think that was maybe the reason why I didn't have it in my disappointment in the end, was because since the DLC they have added enough stuff that's made me think, it was enjoyable enough with friends that I had fun. Whereas Battlefield 5, I didn't like have any fun really with it, so that was kind of the reason why that weighed it out. But I know when we played it, you were the whole time just going, is this all we do? This is kind of fun, I guess, for an hour, but like, what do we do now? Like, just go to the same island. Like, there's nothing to do on islands. There's no like buried treasure. You only have like specific buried treasure from your quest, and that's it. Yeah,
the only like sense of progression you can get in that game is by getting very bare bones cosmetic stuff. That's not interesting. The one good thing to come out of Sea of Thieves actually was the bit of day one DLC that they added. I don't know if you saw this, but this was kind of funny. They added a day one patch, and it was literally an eye patch item.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. I had that as
well. So that
is
the one good thing to come out of Sea of Thieves. Otherwise, it was a piece of trash. I think, Dan, the reason why it is my biggest disappointment of the year is because for me, it was the moment at which I finally resigned to myself that the Rare from my childhood is gone. That company is no more. The people who made the games that I liked are gone now.
Which is crazy, right? Because they still have Greg Miles, who directed this game, who was the same director or lead designer of Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
There's a couple of old people, still the old guard. Some of them are still there. So that's why you think maybe they can salvage this project, because this guy made Banjo-Kazooie. He's probably going to make it again, right? Or make something good again.
I think, honestly, as an armchair analyst, it was just too ambitious, you know? That was all it was. If they'd went ahead and made a simple, I don't know, Banjo-Kazooie remake, if they'd went back to Banjo X or whatever that was, if they'd done something like that, then I'm sure they could have made something great if they just, you know, kept it simple like they used to. And they try to do everything here. They try to create this massive online world. It was a jack of... What's the word?
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes, that's the phrase I was looking for there.
So this is actually quite hard for me to pick because it's between 2 games. Basically, both games are Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2.
Oh.
State of Decay 2 purely because I loved the first one.
Yeah.
But the only thing I thought that number 1 was missing was multiplayer.
Yeah.
Which obviously number 2 brought, but then they completely destroyed the game. But I was expecting so much from Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And yeah, I played it. I mean, we all played it for a little while. It just got boring.
Yeah.
After that one time we played, I don't think I've ever played it again. I've actually uninstalled it, I think, from my
I remember
computer.
you were furious while we were playing that because you're getting so annoyed, like, what are we doing? There's nothing to do. It looks cool, I guess, but what are we actually doing?
And that is it. You're literally on a boat and it's like, okay, what else there to do? Okay, I'll go to this island, get a bit of treasure, go back. Now what do we do? Okay, we go get some more treasure. I found it the most boring and tedious game ever. And they built this game up to be something amazing.
Yeah.
And I do sometimes feel like they do that with some games and it's just like they sold this game to people. I mean, it's a great looking game and like the ocean stuff with the effects, the weather effects, and that is amazing, but it's definitely my biggest disappointment of 2018.
My only defense for me with this game is that I think since its original launch, they've put DLC and they've added some stuff that's... Fundamental problem with the game is still there. Like, it's not that interesting to realistically do, but I think the fun I get from this game, personally, is when you just got a big squad of, like, 4 people on a ship. Especially you go on these raids and you can come across other people and you work together, but then if you want, you can fuck them over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I understand the disappointment. I don't know, are you a big fan of Rare?
I mean, I've never been a big fan of Rare,
right,
but I've played Rare games, and I thought this was going to be one of them games where, oh yeah, they always do well, like the Banjos and everything like that. They've always been big games, and I thought, oh okay, this is going to be another one of their big games, and it just didn't live up to expectations for me.
Fair enough, mate.